Hello, everybody, this is Purge, bringing you guys a first-person replay commentary, and I'm going to be going over one of the last games that we played yesterday in the tournament. If you guys were seeing my tweets or heard about my videos, I'll just give a quick overview. We went to a Howies Game Shack tournament, which is a tournament that's occasionally held at a small LAN chain that's in Southern California, in the Los Angeles area, and I think this is our second or third as a team that we played. I wasn't able to make the last one because I think I was casting Cyborg Matt's WTF tournament, but we ended up making this one. Our team ended up being Merlini, he played mid for us. Aosin was playing carry in this game, but in some of the other games he played support, and then we had Stafu and Cece, who were friends, who we played against, I think, in one of the first lines we ever played over a year ago. So, team is pretty solid. We have 3 really good players, and then 2 pretty good players who are both in very high. They're not nearly as good as the rest of us, but it was definitely good enough to play in this lane. So, you guys might have seen my tweet yesterday, or my Facebook status yesterday, linking the Dropbox link to all of the replays. So what I did is I took the 4 games that we played, and I zipped them, and I put them on my Dropbox, and I gave you guys all my shared link, but then too many people downloaded it, so my Dropbox like completely cut off all downloading of the files. So, if you guys want those, you can't get them. I don't really know of a website to download all or to upload the replays to that has like unlimited bandwidth. At some point I think it's going to cap out, so unless I host it on like a private server or something, I don't know. I don't know that much about data hosting, so it's you guys are just going to have to live without it, unfortunately. Though, just keep in mind, if you guys have downloaded those files, I know a lot of people had trouble and send me messages. Unfortunately, I didn't check my Twitter after I uploaded it, so I couldn't help anybody. But if you guys were able to download the replays, you should be able to access them 100%, and the way you do that is you have to put them in the correct folder, which I guess I might as well look up the file path for you while I'm sitting here, but I can also put this in the Dropbox below. But you will go see program files. Is this right? Did I do this right? Or whatever hard drive it's on, that's why. So Steam, and then you go Steam apps, common, Dota 2 beta, Dota, and then I think you put it. You don't put it on the replays folder, I don't think. I might be wrong, but you either put it on the replays folder or on the Dota folder, and then you go to console and you type in playdemo space, and then you type the name of the file, and only then will the replay load. It's a little complicated, and if you guys haven't done it before, if you haven't downloaded a replay outside of the client, it's a little weird to do, but I used to have to do it for some replay casts in the past, so I was kind of used to it, but I'm sure you guys can Google a way that shows you exactly how to view replays that you download, and that's basically what you do. If you guys did get to download the replays, if you're one of the select few, I don't know how many downloaded it before it killed the sharing, but you guys can still watch it. Just go look up how to do it. If you have downloaded the replays, you can watch it. Let me see if does console even open. No, my console doesn't open right now. Okay, so regardless, that is all of the replays. If you guys happen to download it, a very select amount of you guys are going to be able to watch them, but you're honestly not missing much if you didn't get to download them. Every single other game that we played was pretty much a mega stomp that the games were over at 15-20 minutes or something like that. The players there were not that bad, but like our team is honestly pretty solid. It's really solid for a small local LAN, so it was very unlikely that anyone was going to be able to beat us. So, and if you guys didn't see the tweets about it, we did end up winning. So, spoiler alert, we're going to win this game, but that's not important. What is important is that I'm going to be playing Weaver, and I haven't done a Weaver game in a really long time, despite I personally feel like he's one of my best heroes, because he really fits my playstyle. He's very aggressive, overly aggressive arguably, and I really like playing like that and then getting kills and then escaping. So we can talk a lot about Weaver during this game, and you guys can get some Weaver insights, and we can talk about the game as a whole as well. And there's some interesting things to learn as well. I maybe analyzed the game a little bit wrong when I talked to the guys we played against yesterday at the end of the lane, but Aosin had a really good analyzation of why we ended up losing. So I don't remember who was drafting this game. Somebody was drafting. It was not me. I think it was Steven or Aosin drafted the last round, but important bans. Lich is arguably a first round ban and pick at the moment because he does deny EXP and give EXP to your lanes. You should be able to get a pretty good EXP advantage in your lane. Frost Armor is also good against ranged heroes as well now, so Lich is quite annoying to play against, so very commonly he is banned. We were planning to play Meepo here because Aosin's pretty good at Meepo. Merlini is playing Puck, which is one of his good heroes, and I'm playing Weaver, and then I think Stefu's on Earthshaker, and CC played Visage again. I think he played Visage twice this game. Their picks are not bad. They have a lot of disables. They have a lot of really good team fight. If you think about their mid-game team fight, it's really nasty, actually. So it's something we definitely have to worry about. Oh, that's right, I'm on 2x speed.
Prepare for battle.
I made it 2x speed during the drafting, so that it was a little reduced, but here we go. Okay. So, We ran a lot of dual lanes this tournament, and this is something that Aosin really liked doing because as an adjustment essentially towards the new meta, which is, wow, they actually did a level in smoking. I have no idea where they ended up going towards, but I believe Merlini actually scouted the entire jungle and he didn't spot them, so I'm not sure. They must have smoked. Oh, that's right. I think they smoked to the top lane. I remember now. Okay, dual lanes are really good. For some reason, it's not showing my cosmetics, which makes me really sad, but it is not. They showed when I played the game live, I promise. Maybe it's just because of the replay. I don't know. I have no idea.
30 seconds
So, dual lanes are really solid. Number one, you can Earthshaker block the Ancients, and then the creep wave will pull into the Ancients, which in my opinion is kind of OP and not very fair, but it's part of the game now, and unfortunately nobody has really like outlawed the strategy anymore. In Dota 1, that was one of the few things that you weren't allowed to do, which was you weren't allowed to fissure block creep camps with, you weren't allowed to change the paths of the waves, basically, which technically included cog trapping some creeps and fissure blocking some of them and things like that. He's gonna end up dying up here. He was really late to get to the lane, and if you should honestly just either stand with vision of the jungle or you should stand under tower. So it was his mistake to cross there, but I guess he was a little bit late to lane. Who knows? But yeah, you used to not be able to like sprout creeps or cog creeps or fissure block creeps. There's a lot of things that weren't fair. He's not actually supposed to do it. She's not supposed to do it on the first wave. Actually, she's supposed to do it on the next wave because the Ancients aren't spawned yet. You want to do it when the Ancients are spawned. So the first creep wave will come down. I'll block it all the way as far as I can, and then I can CS for a while, and she can block the next one. So you guys will show. I'll show the ping spots. Those are the two spots where you fissure to and from, and those should get you last hits. Keep in mind I was playing at a LAN, so my last hit wasn't perfect this game. In fact, it was like slightly off, not super bad, but tolerable. So yeah, dual lanes are pretty good now because the creep wave meets in a much better spot, which means that it should be a lot easier to grab CS, essentially. So every deny and last hit is very, very easy here, so I shouldn't end up missing too many, but feel free to use Sakuchi to get last hits like that. I could have gone for both last hits, but instead I decided just to play it safe and go for the Sakuchi double hit. I got some damage in as well, so that was kind of nice. I figured I wasn't going to get that, so I wanted to use Sakuchi on the last hit. Spending a little mana for a guaranteed last hit is great. I should have stood a lot closer to that creep when I went for the last hit. I would have been able to get that, and I should have grabbed that last hit as well. But one creep wave has already been denied completely by the Ancients. So, the reason I grabbed so many tangos here is because I was expecting possibly being up against an aggressive tri-lane. And if you're up against an aggressive tri-lane as a weaver, you will definitely need a lot of regen. And I didn't necessarily want to have to force myself into guaranteeing that I get a ring of health at an early time, for example. Again, I used Sakuchi because I was going to miss 2 last hits there if I did not. So I decided to grab a lot of extra tangos because it meant that I could spend more gold on my early items on damage items rather than spending it on saving up for a big ring of health, for example. Plus, you get so many tangos now that it's, I don't know, I kind of really like having that much regen. I think it's actually quite nice. Ring of Basilius is a absolute must for an early weaver. You have to get this item in my opinion. It is so ridiculously crucial. Unless you're playing mid. If you're playing mid, you get a bottle, whatever. But if you're playing any other role, getting a Ring of Basilius is pretty much required. The reason that it is required is because the item costs 500 gold and it gives you 0.65 mana per second. If you look at my int level right now, it's only 18, which means I have a really, really low int amount, and I need mana to be able to cast Sakuchi to go get kills off. It's like absolutely vital that I'm able to use Sakuchi because it's going to allow me to do damage and survive and all that other good stuff. So you have to get a Ring of Basilius, and to do this you have to purchase a ring, or you have to buy a Ring of Protection, and then you have to turn this into a Basilius on lane. And once you're able to pick that item up, you're going to have a great time. Because then you get a lot more HP regen, or mana regen per second. Again, if you guys, I know I repeat this a lot when I talk about Basilius, but I think it's very important if you haven't heard it before. If your int is below 33, that means a Basilius will give you more regen per second than a Sage's Mask alone. And that's because a Sage's Mask is a percentage-based mana regen item. He tanked way too much creep damage there, but a Sage's Mask is a percentage-based mana regen item, and a Ring of Basilius is a static mana regen item. Gives 0.65 no matter what your int is. So early game, Ring of Basilius is a lot better than Sage's Mask, and since Weaver's int is so low, it's a perfect item for him. Plus it gives him 6 damage, so that means every time he does Geminate, he does 12 damage. It's just all around, Basilius is like the best Weaver item in the game, for the early game. It is bar none the best item, it's so good. So, Basilius super important. Lots of regen is super important. I don't necessarily need boots right away, but I do want to grab Probably treads relatively fast, especially when I'm in an aggressive position like this, and I have lots of regen. By aggressive position, I mean I'm versus an Elder Titan who's playing extremely passive, so that means my chances of dying are very low, so I should be focusing on probably trying to get a kill, more often than not. I decided to Sakuchi that creep because I thought I was going to miss it as well, and I'll pop over here, and I'm going to buy a bunch of agility items. And the reason I'm buying all these agility items increases my attack speed and increases my damage. Again, this is a Geminate attack that should give me some good damage up. I should have gotten that catapult, that was a big mistake. But I'll build the slippers into a Ring of Aquilla, and I'm going to build the Band of Elven skin into a Treads. I know you guys almost never see me buy this item. The only time I will is when I'm playing an agility hero who plans to get Treads and I want damage a little earlier. And it's usually only Weaver, really, that I'll buy this item on first. Pretty much any other hero, I would almost always prioritize having a Belt of Giant Strength first. But since I'm all in the aggressive, I'm not worried about dying. I'm going to buy the Band of Elven skin, and it should be just fine. So the Elder Titan is wisely spamming his Spirit out. The goal of us was actually to push the bot lane. Aosin is in the jungle currently because he just hit level 4 on Meepo, and he's against a really strong aggressive tri-lane, which is a Magnus, Lina, and a Alchemist, which means that if he gets caught, he dies, period. So we shifted the supports to the bot lanes in the goal that we could take the tower rapidly. But, of course, Elder Titan's counter push is pretty solid, so we kind of just got me free farm and whatever, we had a nice lane. So not that bad for us, honestly. Only about now is when we can dive. We want to wait till there's creeps to tank the tower. I'm just going to run to the left to try to scout out where the Elder Titan is. Make sure your Basilius is on while you're pushing this. Quite important that it is. Some people do like getting the Swarm at level 4 rather than a second level of Geminate, but in a 1v1 matchup like this, I felt like this was my best choice here. I wasn't too unhappy with this. Sometimes you are going to take the spirit damage, but it has been nerfed recently, so it's not that bad. Don't worry about it too much. Just like let it hit you, honestly. If you know that there's only probably one hero here, it's not that bad. It's unlikely that he has Stomp in the early game anyways. People are still really prioritizing the Aura over the Stomp. Alright, so I'm going to buy Treads now because I had the money. This doesn't actually give me any more damage, but it does increase my attack speed by quite a bit. Gives me, what, 35? Yeah, 30 attack speed. And then 50 movement speed is not bad. When Sakuchi is still fairly lower level, this means that there's actually a decent amount of time that you spend not running, or that you spend outside of Sakuchi. You run max movement speed with Sakuchi, so you can generally delay boots by a bit, and it's not that big of a loss. We also have an aggressive ward down now, so we can see the Elder Titan a bit better, and this is about where we're ready to be aggressive. Now, most importantly is I'm able to start off some Geminate attacks and things like that. Tread switching to Strength when I feel like I'm going to get hit, and then I can weave back in and put some more hits on him. And it is okay for me to dive, because you can actually sit in these little areas here, and you will be able to avoid Elder Titan's damage. Now, the Fissure Block prevented him from coming through, which is great for me. I have to be a little careful about my survivability here, so I'm going to dance for just a bit until I get my Geminate attack again. I should have attacked before I did that, so slight mistake for me, but it still resulted in us getting the kill. It was too bad that he took it, though. Me picking up that kill would have been really good. And again, I'm going to Sakuchi here, because I wanted to dodge those 2 to 3 tower hits. If I didn't Sakuchi, I would have taken 3 tower hits, and it would have been a ton of HP, so it was by far a better choice for me to trade the 60 mana there, rather than take all the tower hits. So, slight mistake for me, I Sakuchi'd a little too early. When I was at the Elder Titan, I should have attacked for the Geminate first, but regardless, we still got the kill and everything's good. So, that was pretty good for us. Slight mistakes again, but just pressuring is always going to be a good thing as a Weaver. So I can pick up 6 now. Always grab timelapse because it does give you the ability to regain your HP. This is a pretty common skill build in most lane matchups, and we again can dive. I'm going to run on through here. And a Soul Assumption is going to basically put him in a really bad spot. So, really easy kill for us. We did see a kill on the Visage, and that's because he maybe overdived a little bit, or maybe tower sitting him. I'm not quite sure. But regardless, we just killed Elder Titan twice. We're going to be able to take the tower now because I have a Basilius, we have a Catapult, and we have a full creep wave. So, really easy pickup for us. And a little overly aggressive, and just basically the point where there was nothing that the Elder Titan could have done to stay alive. So, pretty good for us. I'm slightly in CS, behind the Alchemist, and if we check net worth, he's slightly ahead of me. We also have Lina with 3 kills. She's having a really good game so far. But as a whole, team's not looking too solid right now because we're losing, it looks like, possibly mid as well as the other lanes. Merlini actually does have a lot more hits than the Magnus, so he's doing okay there. But he has died twice, I believe. Yeah, he's 0-2 and 0 right now. So, I was contemplating shifting over here to see if I could do some damage to the Magnus. Maybe if I was paying attention to him as he headed to the rune, I could have actually gotten there in time. Maybe gotten a kill, but it didn't happen. So instead, I'm going to go back to the bot lane. Opening up the tier 1 tower as an offlane weaver like this is so crucial, and really, maybe not crucial, but it really does increase your effectiveness and how dangerous you are as a hero. Because now I can basically, I mean, the jungle is mine. That's like the worst tower to lose. The tier 1 safe lane tower is so dangerous because it just opens up the jungle. And in fact, that's maybe what they should have done against us, because obviously Meepo really likes to spend a lot of time in the jungle. I don't think I jungled the small cam very efficiently, but I did end up doing it. I maybe should have just stayed in lane instead. Looks like the Lean is actually in the jungle, and I brought myself a Aquila as well as a Salve, just to be able to keep my HP up, I think. So I see a Lina over here. Always tread switch to int, preferably, as you're running through the jungle. So I'm going to pop myself, because I definitely do want to fight this. I just don't necessarily want to be half HP while I start it. So I'm just going to start pressuring the Elder Titan a bit. And now I'm definitely going to go in the Lina. I definitely shouldn't have run through the tower there. I think that was a mistake. But I was able to go back this way. I didn't realize that the Alchemist was actually charging his stun on me there. That was pretty scary. I'm going to end up being able to survive though. And that's basically all you need to do as a Weaver. You just need to be aggressive, you need to go after the squishy supports that maybe have a stun but don't always have the most reliable disable, and you need to be able to secure those kills. It's super important. At this point I realized I didn't have a magic wand yet, which is ridiculous. I almost always have a magic wand on Weaver. I think it's ridiculously good. And that's because you're already a very squirrely hero. You might as well add some more burst survivability on top of that, and especially for Weaver, wand is one of the best items. So if you guys are ever having trouble on Weaver, always buy a wand. In fact, I don't actually like getting a Void Stone that much this early because the item does very little for you. It's a percentage based mana regen item, so that means it doesn't actually give me that much survivability. One of the nice parts is it's 10 damage, which again is going to be 20 once my Geminate procs, but I don't really like grabbing a Perseverance too much early. If anything, I like Aquila, sometimes Aquila or Ring of Basilius. I like the Ring of Health, and I like to get the Ultimate Orb before the Void Stone if possible. So, fortunately, losing a lot of fights here on the mid lane. So, they're trying to take a tower, so I'm going to go shift over to see if I can potentially make something happen. I'm preparing to use my bugs here, so I'm looking for the range. And I just want to bug everybody if possible, and I will initiate with Invis if I can. And at this point, I should be able to pick up the Elder Titan. Yep, pretty easy kill there. And maybe grabbing the Lina as well. But we actually did get RP'd. Barely got my time-lapse off in time. I decided to pop my this was really scary. Alright, I was able to get the Lina. Luckily for me, they didn't have very much vision. I was able to go invisible, but he did a blind skewer. And actually, they had a sentry anyway, so... Question is, was that worth it? I don't know. I got 2 kills out of it, an Elder Titan and a Elder Titan and a Lina. It was kind of good for me, but I did give 500 gold to Magnus, which gives Magnus a potential Blink Dagger at a relatively fast rate. So I don't know if that was completely worth it. Most importantly, I should have been on Strength Treads instead of Int. And I don't know. I think I hesitated a little bit too much in that fight. And this is when I noticed I'm really had a Midas, which is ridiculous as a mid hero when we're losing. So I was kind of like, why do you have a Midas, man? He was like, no, it'll be fine. I was like, okay. Alright, man. There were a lot of disconnect problems on a couple of the computers. Keep in mind that everybody was using LAN Cafe PCs, so usually at least one game, one of the 10 computers was having some issues, so there will be a bit of downtime. I should be able to speed this up, actually, but let's see if there's anything else that I want to talk about before we get back to full speed. Again, I really like Ring of Aquila. If we look at the item, it costs about 1,000 gold, and it gives you mana regen, it gives you a little bit of stats all around, but most importantly, the item gives you 15 damage. And a 1,000 gold item for 15 damage means every time you Geminate, you get 30 damage. So getting really inexpensive ways to boost your damage up in the early game is a huge advantage towards a Weaver. So I really like Treads. I really like Ring of Aquila. You could argue for Phase Boots because they give you 24 damage, but I really think Phase is a waste. You don't need to phase. The active of Phase is wasted because Sakuchi already makes you max movement speed. The only nice thing about Phase at all is that it stacks with Geminate, which won't even pay off until your Geminate's a high level anyways, which is more like mid-game, so why not just get Treads, right? You can get HP out of Strength Treads, you can use Int Treads if you want to save a bit more mana when you're using Sakuchi to get places, and you can switch to Agi when you're just DPSing people down, or switch to Strength when you're worried about dying. So, I don't know, I think Treads is by far the best option for Weaver. You can delay boots for a while if you're interested in that, but I'm not a huge fan of that because I really like the extra attack speed from Treads. So, Ring of Aquilla, Treads, Wand. I think that's absolutely early core on Weaver. And then from there, there's a lot of stuff that you can grab for items that may be different, or maybe what I go for this game. This game, I'm going for a Linkens Sphere. The reason I'm grabbing a Linkens is because they have like a billion stuns that can be blocked by Linkens. I can block Unstable Concoction. I can block Lina ulti. I can block Brain Sap from Bane. I can block Nightmare from Bane. And I can block Fiend's Grip from Bane. It also will block Enfeeble, but I don't want him to use Enfeeble on me because it would remove the Linkens, and it's a great way for him to stop my Enfeeble. So, Linkens, I think, is by far the best choice here. I have really good farms since I had a safe lane, and I've got 4 kills. I've only died once, so my items are pretty solid. I think my net worth should be pretty high. Yeah, I'm actually tied with the highest in the game. Surprisingly, it's Magnus actually tied with me. Probably because he got the kill. I mean, he got that 500 gold is why he got boosted so much. But I think Linkens is really the right choice in this game. Other builds that you can do if you're playing a Weaver, if you have a bit less farm, you can do a BKB, like a Black King Bar. It's not a terrible item, gives you HP. It can help you against silences. If you're playing against a lot of silence heroes like Skywrath Mage or Death Prophet or Silencer, you kind of need a BKB sometimes, because if you get silenced, then you're dead, because you can't Sakuchi and you can't timelapse. So sometimes BKB is very required. In the pro scenes, it's very common for pro players, at least in the last couple of months that I've watched, Weavers would very often get a Treads BKB, and then they get a Linkens just for extra survivability, or they'd go Linkens first and then BKB, something like that. Just because they wanted to guarantee that they could continue to be annoying through a team fight and not have to worry about just getting silenced and killed, or chain stunning killed, or something like that. Happy to see my cosmetics are working now, hell yes. You can jungle with Sakuchi a little bit, it does do a little bit of damage. I did waste my Geminate there, make sure that you don't waste your Geminate on a hero that's about to be one shot. I believe I did it again here, yep, I wasted my Geminate again there. So, not that big of a loss because I one hit that range creep, but try not to waste your mana on that stuff too much. So, Linkens Sphere is my goal. I'm going to sit on Strength Treads more for team fights because I made slight mistakes in the last fight with that. I probably still would have died, but maybe not. And after Linkens Sphere, you can grab a damage item. Usually you want to grab survivability before a damage item. You can get away with like a fast Desolator or something, but if that's the case, then any one hero can burst me down. And most importantly, that hero that can burst me down would be a hero like Lina. If Lina gets any stun combo on me and I don't have good survivability, I'll just die to a single support, which is not a good thing to happen. I'm gonna see Merlin E get killed over here. Not sure what he was doing down there, but that was a 5-man gank, so like at least everybody else on our team was getting farmed. And I believe he definitely typed definitely typed space created. It's not that bad to jungle either as Weaver now, because I have all the mana regen and I have all the HP regen too, so this actually felt okay. It's not the most efficient thing in the world, but it looked okay. And at this point we realized that they were definitely pushing mid, so we needed to go defend that. And there they are. I'm going to TP to the tier 2 because I want to make sure that I don't stop somebody else's TP. I'm going to bug the creep wave immediately. Very important that I do this because it does delay the pushing momentarily. Their enemy heroes are worried about getting dived, and the creeps are going to stop and attack the bugs for quite a while actually. And since they are quite a bit in the lead, we do want to make sure that we can stop those pushes. We actually have really good heroes for it, with both Earthshaker as well as Puck if we just orb the creep wave and then fissure the creep wave. The creep wave is pretty much completely dead, and then their push stops, and they don't have anything to tank. I mean, if they teamfight us, it's really, really scary for us, but as long as we can delay the push, this is a really big advantage for us. Meepo's farming right now, so if Meepo's farming and we're able to stop their push, they're wasting their time. So I believe this happened for 1 or 2 waves maybe, and then they realized that this wasn't going to work. This may have worked for them if we didn't have good counter push heroes, number 1, and number 2, if we were bad and it didn't show up on time. Like, we barely got to this lane on time, honestly. If my bugs wouldn't have been there, they might have just taken the tower on the first hit here. So the Alchemist threw a stun on me here, and we are going to crush the team fight. So really good things that happened in that fight. The Magnus RP was pretty good. It caught 2 important heroes, the Earthshaker and the Puck. He skewered them back. But then I think the problem was that the Alchemist threw stun on me rather than on the 2 clumped heroes. If he threw the stun on the 2 clumped heroes that were both stunned, they would have been stunned more time, and Puck wouldn't have got his nukes off, and Earthshaker wouldn't have been able to get his Echo Slam or his Fissure off either. And if that would have happened, the fight would have went completely different. But we basically just won a 5v or a 4v5 fight. Shouldn't have happened. Also, I had my bugs on the Alchemist, I believe, so when he was the last hero alive, despite him having some good HP regen, and I believe an armlet picked up on him, we just cut right through him because he was in the Mega Minus armor. So to talk about my skill build a bit, I haven't talked about the Swarm in a while, other than the fact that I counter push with it. It's usually best to max this out second, and a lot of Weaver players will usually leave Geminate at 1. Now in the past, when I used to play Weaver a lot, always bug your support heroes, by the way. This looked really bad for me. It looks like Bane's not 6 yet though. So I'm gonna time lapse here. I actually did get stunned again. That was really greedy of me, but it ended up working. If that Bane was 6, I easily would have died, because he just would have gripped me, and I would have eaten a Lina ult, and I would have died. But apparently the Lina didn't have her ulti up when I got nightmared, because it was still on cooldown, so I lucked out basically. I didn't get a follow-up stun, she just ultied me in the brain sap, and they tried to kill me. But I did wand from it, I was just trying to get away, and then I was able to make a kill, so pretty good for me. And I was able to pick up my ultimate orb from that, so now my HP is 190 higher, which is huge. I have 10 more damage, and I have a lot more mana to work with, so all around really good. Got another kill, more EXP for me, and this should put me more... My CS is actually not that great, but I have been... I did, first of all, I counter-pushed the bot lane as the tower came in, and I've also been ganking and stuff, so I haven't been farming as much, and jungle camps as well. I haven't really had a dedicated lane other than the bot lane here for me last sitting, so... And it's honestly okay for me to sit down here. I'll talk about finish my Swarm thoughts in a second, guys, but it's honestly okay for me to sit down here now, because like you just saw, if their supports come and they're by themselves, I have a pretty good chance of getting a kill on them. And if I can get a solo kill on them, then bam, I get EXP, I get gold, and I get a even bigger advantage, pretty much. So, alright, onto the Swarm. I used to, when I was really noob, I used to just max Geminate first, and I would maybe delay the Swarm quite a bit. And this is maybe a reflection of the Swarm changing over the years. Like, before it used to do different things, and Geminate is really good for last hitting, but the Swarm is really annoying for team fighting, and honestly very strong against support heroes. Because once you max this out, it lasts 20 seconds, and what it really does is it forces your supports into a decision, or your enemy supports into a decision. They either have to say, okay, I need to kill these bugs, or I'm going to get like 3 shot, or I need to just eat the damage and like hope that Weaver or another hero doesn't try to physically attack me later. So it forces your opponents into making a decision that oftentimes is going to be a little scary for them. I saw that the Bane was here. I almost got Fiend's Grip. It was very, very close, but I considered going on him, but I was a little scared because I figured it kind of looked like he was waiting for me, and then I decided to back away, and that's when I noticed, okay, they 100%, they had a sentry there. 100%. So, it's considering going on this Observer Ward here. I asked the Visage to send his birds over,
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And then I decided to invis with Scoochie to guarantee that I get this,
Structures are fortified.
and then we'll watch that die, so that's pretty good. He gets gold, I got the haste rune, we denied it from Magnus from having it, and they're actually pushing again, which we noticed, so now we just need to defend again. But yeah, the Swarm is really good. It's a lot better for team fighting as well. I just recommend maxing it out second. Either get 1 level of Geminate, get 2, kind of depends on how your lane's going. And then bug the creep wave as well, because we definitely do want to delay this push.
Top tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower.
Alright, and because that tower was taken, I now have my Linkens, which means that I wanted to wait for the fight to happen until I did have my Linkens picked up. So this should be okay for us, assuming I get my Linkens in time. Alright, and we got the tower denied as well.
Dire's bottom tower has been denied. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
He threw a stun at me, and it ended up disabling my Linkens, which is fine. And there it is. Bugs really lowered the armor of Lina, and I was able to get a bunch of some kills here. I want to go on the Bane if possible. As a Weaver, you should always be gunning for their supports.
Radiant's top tower.
And I want to really be far away from my allies, and my Linkens came up at just the right time, and I was able to get a kill, or at least block the Fiend's Grip from the Bane, so... No Fiend's Grip there. Should be bugging, actually. It's not very good of me. So I misplayed that a little bit. My team still cleaned up big time, but I should have bugged when I was standing right here and they were over here. If I would have bugged there, it would have given me a little bit more minus armor. I think I likely still would have died, honestly, because they ended up RPing me and like out-stunning me and all this stuff, but could have gone a bit better. But fight was really good. We got the Lina. I was able to kill the Bane. He wasted Fiend's Grip on my Linkens, so my Linkens accomplished a crapload that fight. And then at the last second, I got chain stunned by the Magnus and other things, so I should have bugged them. And if I bugged them, maybe it would have stopped the blink from Magnus. I don't know if he blinked to get in that AoE by me, but it kind of seemed like it was instant and that I was like not prepared for the RP or something. I'm not sure. But if I bugged him, they do damage to the Magnus. Magnus can't blink. Maybe I would have lived that fight. Who knows? Could have played out a lot differently because of it, so... But I accomplished my goals in the fight. picked off supports, targeted the supports. You got to kill them immediately. They're by far easier. And once supports are gone, usually hard carry roles or core roles have less disables that are up less often. So a hero like Magnus, for example, he's got a great ulti, but you can only use it once. A hero like Lina is really strong because she has a stun every 7 seconds. So if that hero lives for more than 7 seconds, she gets 2 stuns in a fight, which is a huge difference from 1 stun, which can make a lot more plays. So you always want to gun for the supports first. They're a lot easier to kill, and their abilities are usually pretty high impact. So always gun for them. Try to throw the bugs on everybody. Try to initiate on the other side of the fight. Luckily for me, they didn't have a sentry down, so I was able to cross past to the backside where I could pick off the Bane, and he had no cover from his allies, which is another important thing I did. I didn't just attack Bane from the front, standing next to all of her allies. I decided to do it with a little bit of backup. So he's going to dodge the bugs, which is fine. I just kind of wanted to pressure him and see what happens. I didn't necessarily want to like go all in on this, but I did want to do some damage to him. So a couple more hits here. I'm going to put him to about half HP. And then I'm going to back up. I didn't really have intentions of pressuring that hard, but if you take a look at what just happened on the map, their whole team did actually shift over for this, so that was pretty cool. And there we go. We had Enfeeble drop down to break my Linkens, and now I'm running for my life because I really don't want to die. In a case like this, if they're really close to me when I'm chasing, I can always use timelapse to go back in time, which would send me back to where I was originally when I started hitting the Magnus. So if everybody's chasing after you use timelapse, then they run the opposite direction. I didn't have to do it here because they weren't very close to me, but I did end up surviving, which is cool. So I pick up an Ogre Club next. The reason I bought this is because I said, well, they killed me in the last fight. I didn't have quite enough HP, because if you have enough HP, you can survive the burst, you can time-lapse through, and you should be able to just win the fight after that, because they used all their abilities. I'm rushing to the fight now because I don't want to get delayed here. I want to try to make sure that I can show up to this. I'm going to throw my bugs now as I run as fast as I can. And here's another example of a hero kill that I probably won't get, but just keeping him back is going to be kind of nice, so whatever. Forced him back. Unfortunately, we can't actually take that tower because our creep wave's nowhere close. That was where I was last hitting. It was kind of a weird fight for us to start, but it all worked out okay. And now we should have a pretty big gold advantage on the map because we won team fights, and yeah. This is about the moment where, let's see, Gibson died here. I got the Elo Titan and the Lina. That was the mid fight. Then we had, this is where they kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and we kept holding it back and holding it back. So this is all the time where Meepo was farming, and they were trying to take our bot tier 1. And then this was the team fight where we wrecked them. And then this is the team fight over here where I ended up dying. But we still got, look at all the kills we got. We got so many kills and we got so many towers. So the game's kind of out of control at this point. So, what can I build with my BKB, for example? I've got an Ogre Club picked up, or sorry, with my Ogre Club. I'm going to make a BKB most likely, just because the extra survivability will be really nice. I find a solo Lina, so I'm going to try getting a kill on her. The damage that I'm doing every second goes up, and there we go. I'm able to pick her off. But luckily, we actually had the Earthshaker there to shift over, so that worked out really nice. So, easy kill on Lina. That's why it's great to have aggressive wards as well when I'm playing Weaver, because if I find Bane by himself and I find Lina by himself, especially Lina has a very difficult time killing me because she has to land the stun. Actually, the best thing Lina could just do is TP immediately as soon as I solo on top of her. I was quite confused why the Magnus was here. This is a really bad position for him. So we get a free kill on Magnus as well. At this point, the game's pretty much over in case you guys haven't noticed, but so yeah, BKB is my choice. I felt like we were far enough ahead now that I didn't need to make a BKB, so I believe I decided to build towards a Desolator instead. It's not that big of a deal to do a slight detour in your item build of grabbing an Ogre Club for 1,000. It's not that bad. If I want to pick up a damage item, though, Desolator is by far the best one in my opinion, especially if you're not dealing with evasion. It's by far the best. The orb doesn't apply to your Geminate attack, so it doesn't work on your second attack, but that's fine because the first attack does the Corruption Orb, which is -7 armor, and then the second attack will be regular, but he's already got the debuff. So it basically just really increases your single target damage, especially in conjunction with the Swarm, because you get minus armor from the Swarm, and then you get minus armor from the Desolator as well. So really works out nicely for single target damage. But this is pretty much core item builds. Treads, Aquilla, Wand, and Linkens Sphere is really great. And then from there you can do luxury things. So I think my skill build was pretty standard. Again, you could get either 1 or 2 Geminate, depending. Definitely get Geminate at 2, though. And just try to be as annoying as possible. Try to snake out kills that you should barely survive from. Use timelapse after you tank a bunch of damage. Stuff like that, basically. So I'm just going to kind of continue split pushing now because we're so far ahead that I felt like I can be aggressive. That's going to be an Elder Titan, so I shouldn't have to worry too much about him killing me or disabling me. In fact, if I really wanted to, I could actually dive this. But I probably won't bother with this. Instead, I'll just do a little bit of damage to the tower using my Geminate attack. I was scared from that TP, but it was actually Merlini, so a bit of a mistake for me. But we could maybe dive on that, but it could force TPs, and it could result in us being dead. So definitely smart that we didn't go in on that. I definitely wanted to. As you can see, I was waiting to cast. I was looking to cast the Swarm, but it didn't end up happening. Now Aosen's getting some kills, which is great.
Unstoppable double kill.
Radiant's bottom tower.
I believe he's level... Yeah, I think he's max level now. Yep, he's level 2. 22, that is. I believe he has an Aegis, so he will be respawning. Now, I could have shown up to this fight, but I decided instead to take the tower, and this is fine. Especially when you're already winning the fight, it's absolutely okay for you to not show up. Like, if he killed 4 heroes by himself, basically, which is what happened, that's fine. I'll just continue farming, I'll take the bot tower. And he has an Aegis, or Aghanim's, he had an Aegis, and he had a Vlad, so he was gonna be just fine. So, continue to split push. Should be able to get a Desolator at this point, but the game's pretty much over.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Look at that RP, man. He got everybody.
Radiant's middle tower is under
I actually didn't get him with my second Geminate attack. I was a little surprised. Oh, good, he died anyways. And that's when they called good game, and that's pretty much where the game ends. So, we will just take a bit look back really quick on why they ended up losing the game, because I'm sure you guys are a little curious. I kind of talked about some of the aspects already, but if we hop way back in time here, we'll see where I'm at. So this is right after we took the tier 1 tower. I don't think we had that team fight. We were still pretty far behind. We should jump forward some more. This was a fight. Oh, we lost heroes here as well. And basically this point in the game is where they started losing it. If we look at the gold graphs really quick, okay. Pretty big Radiant advantage. They have a gold advantage here. They have an EXP advantage here from getting some of those kills mid. They snowballed a little bit on a couple of us. Merlini's 1, 2, and 3. I think at this point I'm sitting at 4, 1, and 1. So I'm still doing pretty good on the at least on the team. This was like the only game of the whole tournament that I actually played really well, in my opinion. Or at least played better than my allies. But what they needed to do at this point is they needed to continue to pressure the Meepo. He's only level 8. He's died 3 times. He's got 1 assist. He doesn't have very much farm. In fact, his CS are really low, relatively. He's about middle of the pack here. And what they need to do is continue to kill Aosen. And this was Aosen's analyzation of the game as well after the fact. What they, instead of taking the tower, or trying to take the tower like they did twice, they failed both times. But instead of trying to take the tower, what they needed to do was they needed to aggressively ward in the jungle as soon as they opened up this tower. As soon as this tower died, they needed to do what I had been doing all game, which is play aggressive on the bot lane and in the jungle. So I was constantly farming here, and I was pressuring here. And this allowed me to get solo kills. If I found heroes, I could pressure carries instead of letting them just free farm. And it created a lot of pressure on the map. What they did instead was they tried to group as 5 and just take towers, because they said, whatever, we're ahead, we can take towers all as well. But the problem is that we had the right heroes to counter this. Again, Fissure the creep wave, Orb the creep wave dies, push is done. If they want to start a fight, they're going to have to start it here. And this is not the best place for them to start a fight. Granted, they could have fought a little bit better because we were able to, their coordination wasn't perfect, and we could always buy back and TP to towers, but they shouldn't have been trying to force the tower. Instead, they should have aggressively warded. You can put a ward here and spot this entire area, which is somebody jungling here. You could put a ward here to spot these 2 camps jungling. You can put a ward here, which will spot everybody in this area or people running over here. Or you can put a ward here, or you can put a ward over here, whatever. But you need to ward the jungle, and then they needed to continue to crap on Aosen and make sure that he basically never got to do anything this game. And they didn't really do that. What basically happened for the next 10 minutes was they grouped up, and they tried to take the bot tower, and Aosen completely free-farmed by himself. He didn't even TP when we started the fight. So during this whole time, if they didn't succeed in their push, they lost the game. And that's exactly what happened. They failed in their push. We happened to win a 5v4 team fight. And then he got fed, and then they tried the push again, and then we wiped them completely in the fight after, where we lost 0 heroes, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I guess I ended up dying, but we still got 5 kills. That was the one where I Linkens blocked the unstable, and then I blocked the Fiend's Grip here, and then I got over here, and I ended up getting RP'd, and I died. So basically they lost the game by not just continuously being aggressive towards Meepo, and the game pretty much completely swung around as we looked 10 minutes earlier, or 10 minutes later, and bam, it's completely over. So they were sitting about here in the last time point that we were at, but they wasted all that time pushing bot, and they didn't get enough out of it, and that meant that we got free farm. And now if we take a look at Aosin's last hits, bam, he's completely top of the charts, because all he did for this whole time was farm. So, and he's got an Aghanims and a Blink Dagger. So despite my last hits not going up very much, it didn't really matter because my GPM was still pretty solid from hero kills. So, and yeah, I was at the second highest net worth, and Merlini had a freaking Handamitis, so he had the late game secured anyway. So it was like, they were kind of screwed at that point. So that's the end of the game. That was the last game that we played before we won the finals. Again, if you guys downloaded the replays, you can watch the other games. They're not that great. Honestly, they're really not that great. Most of them were just heavy stomps. But this is probably the best game out of the 4, and I figured I should finally upload something. It's really late now. It's like 8 p.m. Sorry it took me so long to bother doing anything, but I felt a little burned out because we were at the LAN for like 9 hours yesterday, so I felt like doing some Hearthstone stuff and yeah, mostly that, and just like Reddit and things. I don't know if I mentioned this at the start of the video or not, but there's a Polaris Hearthstone tournament coming up soon. So I've had a Hearthstone beta key for like a month now, and I almost never play. I mostly just log in occasionally and play some of the trial stuff to get free gold so that I can play Arena for free or something. And I really didn't want to have to spend money on cards, but since the tournament's coming up, I have very few cards. In fact, like all my decks kind of suck. They're okay for what I have, but I don't have the good cards basically. So I broke down and I spent $20 on cards, so I opened 15 packs, and now I have 2 decks that I think are pretty good. So I just have to make a third one now. So I think that's about it for me. I'll probably stream tomorrow, most likely. Tomorrow's going to be, what, Sunday or something? Let me check. I'm sorry, tomorrow is Monday, actually. So it doesn't matter. Every day is whatever for me. So I'll probably stream tomorrow. Thanks everyone for watching tonight. Sorry the video's late, and I hope you guys enjoy. I don't know what you're enjoying. I hope you guys enjoyed, I guess, the video. Yeah, okay. Follow me on Facebook or Twitter. It's at Purge Gamers. And I think that's it. Okay, bye guys.